Oh, or DMG will just post the TWaB. That also works. Lamau. Thank you, Dylan. Okay, I'll just go ahead and kill music. You'll just have to listen to the sound of my office, and I apologize. All right. Goodness. Bianchi. Thank you, bud. So the tweet wasn't a troll? Apparently not. He literally posted it in my chat, so, I mean, it's gotta be real, right? Isn't that right, Biscuit? So I tap him on the mouth. Okay.
Welcome to the dinosaur tea party.
And one John giving a sub to DMG. There you go, bud. Okay. I'm going to go right here so that way you can read the middle of the screen. This week at Bungie, we introduced seasonal challenges. Welcome to the second to last TWaB of Season of the Hunt. Many of you have been navigating the secrets of the Harbinger mission, uncovering randomly rolled hawk moons and earning the Radiant Accipiter exotic ship. Content-wise, we're coming to a close for the season. We were incredibly excited for what's to come in just a few short weeks. We have been covering some upcoming quality life changes in Destiny 2, like the return of Umbral Engrams, but it's almost time to take a peek at fresh content. Season of the Redacted goes live February 2nd, 2021. So the actual trailer. So that is going to be, what, this coming Tuesday? Or is it next Thursday? Yeah, this coming Tuesday is the 2nd. Before we get there, we have a new feature to cover. Seasonal challenges, and a round of weapon-focused sandbox changes to walk through. As a warning, this is a pretty large amount of information in a small space. We've joked about meaty TWaBs before, but this one may feel a bit overwhelming if you rush through it. Let's take it slow, step by step, and get through it together in one piece. This is, you see when I scroll, so this is many pages, but there's gonna be pictures, hooray! All right. Over the last year, we've been looking at ways in which we can reduce the amount of FOMO, fear of missing out, in Destiny 2. We've recently made some changes to seasons and how seasonal content is available throughout a given year of Destiny 2. This week, we are looking to bounties and bright dust, introducing a new system not only to remove FOMO, but to give fresh ways to earn experience and alternate rewards. To walk us through the ins and outs of seasonal challenges, we pass the mic to the development team. Dev team. During production of Beyond Light, we started looking at the problems of bounty fatigue and FOMO, as well as season legibility, i.e. what is in a season, and how do I engage with it when I log in. We created a few goals which we believe will improve the experience. Provide a guide to new returning and veteran players for what to do today/this week. Guide the player through the seasonal content week over week. Encourage players to engage with complexities and nuances of the seasonal activity and rituals, and reduce the penalties on experience and bright dust for missing a given week. To solve these goals, we are introducing a new pursuit type for players, seasonal challenges. The seasonal challenges live on their own page, are accessed through the quest log or season pass, and are separated by week. So just a bunch of stuff that's almost kind of like triumphs, except it's like complete a thing. And they're very teeny tiny, almost kind of like bounties a little bit. Also, I like how they black those out, probably because they involve the seasonal stuff. Here's a quick breakdown of how this feature works. Every week for the first 10 weeks of a season, between 3 and 10 new challenges appear automatically for players. Some of the challenges deal with the seasonal content. Others push players to complete strikes, Gambit, and the Crucible, or to focus on non-activity focused Destiny rituals like gaining power, unlocking seasonal artifacts mods, or improving guns and armor. These challenges can only be completed once per account, but once they become available, these challenges can be completed at any time before the end of the season, and do not need to be started or picked up from a vendor. As an example, if a player doesn't play for weeks 2 through 4, they can return on week 5 and have all of those challenges waiting for them. Completing each challenge awards experience, contributing to your season pass ranks. Other awards could be bright dust, seasonal currency, and other interesting items. So as you can see right here in the demo page, I guess, they have an example of the first week where, once again, more than likely, this is like the content from the season. And then these are like, it almost feels like this is, depending on how much bright dust you get, this almost kind of replaces how weekly bright dust acquisition works, which isn't a bad idea. This almost kind of feels like a battle pass in its own right. if that makes sense, which isn't a bad thing. Just, but yeah. And moving away from weekly bounties, which were restricted to moving away from those, which were restricted to broad objectives tied to ritual activities, we have taken more leeway with creating some interesting and more difficult challenges. These may be things we're already doing or things that test your abilities. Some examples include defeating primeval envoys in Gambit, defeating enemies in Nightfall the Ordeal with seasonal weapons, gaining infamy or valor ranks, acquiring the ritual weapon and its cosmetic ornaments, winning rounds in trials, or completing a Grandmaster Nightfall. Not all of the challenges require the level of accomplishment, but the harder or longer the challenge is, the more experience it rewards. Challenges that focus on the seasonal activity and ritual mostly need the season pass to complete, but most of the ritual-focused challenges can be completed without the season pass. Overall, roughly 60% of the challenges do not require the season pass, so free to all players. With the changes above, we are removing weekly bounties from the 3 ritual vendors. Banshee and the seasonal vendor, whoever that is. Can I help you? All right, hold up. Someone needs my attention. Okay. These vendors will still have daily bounties which reward experience, and the 3 ritual vendors still have the repeatable bounties for those of you who want to pursue additional experience in Bright Dust. Lastly, most of the challenges disappear after the season they were introduced, and anything that isn't claimed will be lost. We don't add any new challenges after week 10, which should give everyone a few weeks to clean up any challenges they didn't finish. Any challenge that rewards unique or seasonal items, currencies, lore books, blah, 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 can be completed as long as seasonal activity is in the game, but the experience rewarded for completing the challenge will only be available during the season it was introduced. Bright Dust. Back before Beyond Light launch, we discussed some of the goals around the changes to Bright Dust. As a refresher, we wanted to change the way you earn Bright Dust and move more towards account-specific paths to give players with only one character significantly more Bright Dust than they've been earning over the last year. In Season 13, we'll be continuing to move toward these goals by adding Bright Dust into seasonal challenges. Since you no longer have to purchase weekly ritual bounties, each of the Strike, Crucible, and Gambit seasonal challenges will reward between 75 and 300 Bright Dust. We are also introducing an end-of-season Bright Dust bonus. If you complete nearly all the seasonal challenges, we are awarding a single 4,000 Bright Dust pile. Ooh. That's nice. I'm going to drop you. Don't show your butthole. Don't do it. That's indecent. He fell on a bag. He's fine, though. High five? High five? He won't high five me. So that's great. I'm sure someone will do the math on how much Bright Dust has changed since, let's say, like a season or 2 ago and now, because it feels like it's incredibly different. So I still feel like Bright Dust is in a weird spot, but this seems like it's going to help it, but we'll see. Additionally, each ritual vendor challenge, complete 8 bounties, awards 120 Bright Dust for each character who completes it each week. And because this is prompted by the removal of weekly bounties, the only seasonal challenges will be awarding Bright Dust are the ones that both Season Pass owners and free players can complete. Here's a quick breakdown of how much Oh, wow, okay. So free seasonal activities, 6,000. Seasonal extra, 4,000. Total, 1,000 Bright Dust. So this is all players. Season Pass Bright Dust, 7,500 for all players, and then 3,000 for the paid path, so 10,500. Weekly rituals, 120 per week. If you do it every single week, it looks like it's 14,040 for the entirety of the season. So that's a total, if you buy the season, 20, 30, so 34,540. That seems good. I don't know what the old numbers were, so you'll have to tell me. But the thing about this is also it's a lot more accessible than the old system was, where you had to play every single week. It may be less, but it feels like it's easier to acquire. But we'll see. I don't want to say things out of turn because I don't know all the numbers. Additionally, we still plan to offer weekly and repeatable Bright Dust bounties for seasonal events, giving you a bit more Bright Dust towards desired rewards. As a final note, please be sure to claim all seasonal challenges that award Bright Dust prior to the end of a season. Once a season ends, associated challenges and their Bright Dust rewards will expire and can no longer be claimed. It's always exciting when we bring a new feature online for Destiny 2. We hope that the changes detailed above make it easier to create goals to complete each week. As always, we are eager to hear your feedback once you start finishing your first seasonal challenges, so please sound off with your thoughts. My thoughts. I don't think there's any downside to them doing that. They're addressing community concerns between FOMO, lack of bright dust pushing players to always feeling like they have to buy silver. The only thing I don't know off the top of my head is how much bright dust we have lost or has changed since like all of the bright dust changes have started. But like I said, people always complain that they don't want to have to play every single week. They want to feel like they can take breaks. So this is a step in the right direction, I think, for that. The other thing I think they should think about is their content calendar, because it feels like since we don't always know when stuff's going to come out, and typically it's like 1 or 2 secret things a season, it still feels like I have to wake up early on Tuesday. So if that could get removed almost entirely, that'd be great. Not that I'm saying I want secret things gone, but just like maybe a little more forecasting would be nice for the secret thing. But it does kind of get old feeling like I have to wake up every single reset to be like, all right, is there anything new? No? Cool, going back to bed. But yeah, so that is not me saying I want secrets removed, chat. Just like, it's still, I don't know if that's going to rectify the problem of feeling like I always have to log in every single week. It's going to solve part of it, but not for the type of player that I am. Back to the Sandbox. Every season, we have a collection of changes to the Destiny 2 Sandbox to spice things up a bit. This season, we're making some targeted changes to weapon archetypes needed some love, as well as beginning some preparations for crossplay. Dev team. In preparation for crossplay coming later this year, we're making some changes to the recoil stat. Currently, several weapons archetypes have the recoil reduced by around 40% dependent on archetype when using mouse and keyboard. Oh, wow. This results in an issue where players on mouse and keyboard are able to largely ignore the stability weapon stat, creating unintended discrepancies in weapon performance between controllers and mouse and keyboard. Woo! The following weapon archetypes will have their mouse and keyboard recoil adjusted closer to controller. Autos, scout, pulses, some primaries, plus machine guns. Wow. In the case of pulse rifle, submachine gun, and machine gun, we will also be introducing some buffs. In some cases, these weapons will have less recoil across both controller and mouse keyboard input methods compared to what's in the game today. Some machine guns are largely outclassed by autos at medium range and by sidearms at short range, with player feedback often mentioning how hard they are to control. To address this feedback, we are using the following changes. Reduced camera movement from firing a submachine gun by 24%. Pulse rifles with mouse and keyboard changes were kicking a little too much. Reduced camera movement from firing a pulse by 7%. Machine guns by 9.5%. We'll pay close attention to how these changes play out when they go live and plan to revisit individual archetypes in a future update as needed. Outside of recoil adjustments, we'll also be tuning a few weapon archetypes this season 13. Looking through back-end data and community feedback, we landed on the following. Rocket launchers have fallen behind other heavy weapons in most measures of effectiveness. We're pushing them more into a burst damage role. Increased rocket launcher damage by 30%. Exotics have been adjusted individually and are affected by this change to different degrees. Paired with the buffs to reserves from last season, we were hoping you'll explode many more things season 13. I hope so. Because I really like the Eyes of Tomorrow. And like it is pretty easy to get the 4 breaks on Taniks, and it's useful for that. But outside of there, it doesn't feel like it has a great spot to where it really excels. And I think that's kind of what makes Exotics special, is that I could pick a scenario where it's like, if you have this one gun, like this entire thing becomes trivial, or like it's incredibly satisfying to use. And a lot of exotics in the game, including some rockets, don't have anything like that. So there you go. Fusions. Fusions usage is very low, and they feel like an unreliable choice in Crucible compared to shotguns. It increased the fusion rifle damage fall-off start distance between based on range stats, 6% with 0 range and 16% with 100 range. Reduced camera movement from firing a fusion rifle by 9.5%. So does that mean it's got a 60% damage range bonus if you have like the hardest hitting fusions with max range? Lamau. Breach grenade launcher usage is very low outside of mountaintop. We believe that part of the reason is that the loop of the hold the trigger to arm, then release detonate is challenging to execute, particularly since projectiles can bounce off targets if the trigger is held. Breach projectiles now detonate on impact with a character, even if holding the trigger. That's a good change. I like that. I'm surprised it wasn't already like that, but that's a great change. Nerfs. Sniper rifle. Sniper rifle usage has dropped at Crucible. We've observed that it's hard to challenge someone with a sniper rifle. Even if you get the first shot on an enemy, they can often respond and win the fight. Increased ADS flinch to snipers when taking damage from other players. That's a good change, I feel. Because that kind of makes it to where the idea of, like, I shoot someone who's not ADSing and they still dome me almost immediately because of snapshot. Hopefully that means that happens less. Swords are extremely dominant in PvE at this time. 65% of players are using swords for the majority of gameplay encounters in Destiny 2. While we're introducing our buff to rocket launchers to make them a bit more enticing, we feel that swords do too much damage compared to other options, reduced it by 50%. Which, honestly, that still seems like it should be okay, because, like, the Lament's nutty, chat. Like, the thing is, everyone thought that the guillotine was going to be garbage after they nerfed it. And the guillotine was still great. It still is great. We will see if that's too much, though. 15%, I feel like that's okay. 15, not 50, Corpus. You are mishearing me / misreading. 15. So that's still pretty damn good. We'll have to wait and see. It's one of those things where it's easiest to tell when you're playing it. My gut feeling is that swords will still be incredibly viable. They're still good. Like, Lament is probably still going to be god tier. I'm not too worried about it. What I will say is I feel bad for any sword that is not guillotine and not Lament, because they are the outliers here compared to, like, people using anything else. Moving on. Exotic changes and bug fixes. Some of the exotic weapons lose their buffs when you switch weapons, which is intended. They would also lose their buffs when pulling out your ghost shell, which is not intended. Fix the issue on these weapons. Ace of Spades, TWaB, Hawkmoon. Great. Borealis and Hardlight now have a custom, quite short animation for switching damage type. Cool. Duality, increased damage fall-off distance by 1.25 meters while both firing from the hip and aiming down sights. Reduced maximum buff stacks from 7 to 5. Each stack now grants more of a damage bonus, extended buff duration slightly. Nice! So even though they reduced the stacks, they just made them more effective. So it's easier to acquire, or easier to hit your max stacks and then use them. That's great. Sturm will once again reload any equipped special weapon slot weapon on kill, provided the special weapons clip isn't full already and there's available reserve ammo. Fixed an issue that was preventing Merciless from increasing its charge rate on non-lethal kills. Finally! Love Merciless. Sad it got dicked for so long. We are planning to take a quick tuning pass on Arbalest. This won't be ready in time for February 9th. We were expecting to have this touched later in Season 13. Now, we know it can be difficult to understand the scale of buffs and nervous without having these changes in your hands. Not to mention, there will be some new perks for you to hunt as you start navigating content in Season of the... As always, we were excited to see these changes out in the wild on February 9th, and we'll be eager to hear your feedback. Crimson Days. Each year, we look to February as a time to celebrate bonds of friendship throughout the community. Guardians have come to know the celebration as Crimson Days. It's one of our first seasonal events in Destiny 1, a tradition that we carried in Destiny 2. While there was a great joy to Crimson Days, we feel that it's been missing the mark in terms of quality over the last few years. As such, we made a decision to discontinue Crimson Days moving forward. While we'll miss the event, the move will allow us to maintain focus for alternate seasonal offerings, ranging from quests to activities and more. We have quite a bit planned for a Season of the Redacted, and our hope is that we've maintained or even improved the quality you've come to expect from this upcoming release. Some of you may be asking about the fate of Crimson Doubles, our once-a-year Crimson Days playlist. This mode is currently being shifted to the Destiny content vault, but may return in the future. Many thanks to every Guardian who has joined us over the years for this event. Crimson decorations may not be hung in the tower, but we have no doubts we'll continue to form Crimson bonds over the years to come. I mean, like, I don't disagree from a just me as a gamer perspective. I have never really engaged heavily with Crimson Days. Maybe the first time it was around, but since then, I really haven't. You know what I mean? So that's how I feel. Does it suck for players who haven't gotten that stuff? Of course. It always does, right? But I think from players who have been playing it, I can personally understand. I get it. Compared to, like, the Dawning and stuff, it just feels like a not as quality event, you know, by all that stuff. Cool. Bug tracks. Those who may be new to the TWaB, welcome to the Player Support Report. The section is dedicated to known issues, active investigations, and pending updates for Destiny 2. Our player support team navigates the help forum daily, collecting info on new issues and dishing out help articles. This is their report on the most frequently reported issues of the last week. Crucible tokens and fragment quests. Due to the updates to the vendor progression system, Crucible tokens and Crucible token gifts are no longer needed and will be deprecated into junk that will delete as a full stack starting Season 13. Additionally, Stasis Fragment quests will be deprecated at the end of Season of the Hunt. Players are advised to turn in all Crucible tokens and Crucible token gifts and finish all available Stasis Fragments quests before Season 13 starts. One moment. Okay. I wonder if these are new stasis things just because of that little bit of blue there. I'm just curious. Sorry, that's like spinfoil hat. Because I feel like if they're removing them, there's probably going to be new fragments or new.
Welcome to the dinosaur tea.
It could be lore. I listen. I know spinfoil hat. I'm putting it on. I know that it's crazy, and I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying that if they're deprecating things like fragments, there could be new fragments coming, and potentially other things for stasis. So just you know, I'm just saying. Maybe a little bit, okay? Just don't tell anyone. I'm just saying words, okay? Just don't tell anyone. Anyways, cool. Known issues. Stasis abilities can be difficult to distinguish between enemy and friendly for colorblind players. I mean, it's hard to distinguish for me as a non-colorblind player, so yes. The Double Trouble Triumph is unobtainable. In the DSC raid, the augment lockout timer occasionally resets during the final encounter against Tanix. During the final fight against Sanctified Mind in the Guardian Salvation raid, sometimes a shielded tether box can become tethered instead of the correct glowing tether box. Lamau. 100 legs clip through the 10 grasp sword Sparrow. In the Last Wish raid, the Shirochi puzzle room plates don't work if a Titan bubble or Warlock well are placed on them. The Titan phenotype plasticity helm eyes clusters no longer glow red. Weekly and daily elemental kill bounties have stopped rotating off of Void. When overcharging grenades while using the Voidwalker top tree subclasses of Warlock, super energy stops charging. Oh. That seems bad. But luckily, it's not like a long time. It's like 1 or 2 seconds, but still. Background animation of the seasonal challenge was Cabal related. Why do you think it's Cabal related? Out of curiosity. Is it because of the 2 flags? It kind of reminds you of like the Centurion jetpack thingamajigs. Oh no, the background of this. Oh, I didn't even see that. That do be making me think it's Cabal. Yeah, it looks kind of like pieces of the Leviathan. You know. That's a good eye. Enhance. Oh, it won't let me enhance. It just zoomed in the bungee net. Lamau. Okay. Anyways. The symbol is unblurred top left. Oh, also good point. Good point. Good call. Good comms. Smoking chalice. Yeah, I wonder if that was a mistake, because it looks like this might be the same symbol as this one. Anyways, good eye. Okay. Sorry. Continuing. A little more like hieroglyphs. I mean, it could, like, once again, we saw Osiris hanging out with the Cabal. Osiris gotta has that Egyptian theme. I'm just saying. I need to finish. Yeah, holy shit. We're actually almost done, though. Got all through those. Bird noises intensify, so Hawkmoon stuff. Deep Sun Lullaby, 5 kills, 1 clip. Lamau. Artist of the Week. These are way easier to consume just because you can just look at them. I don't have to watch an entire video. Boop. The Destiny artist community is so good. They're so good. That's it for the for this week, folks. Season of Redacted is almost here. We'll have some patch previews to cover in TWaB next week. Stop by if you're interested. I don't actually like if they linked this, it makes me think they're actually going to do it. We'll see you again next week, bright and early on Tuesday morning.